So this talk is designed for everyone from hackers, engineers, product managers. Again, this talk is for designers, CEOs, investors, average users, smart contract developers. There's something for everyone, but mostly it's geared towards builders. My name is Bishard, and I am from Consensus and MetaMask. If you want to follow me, I'm HTTP Junkie on Twitter, Telegram, Warpcast, and any other account that that I've probably signed up for. Yeah, I'm currently working with Consensus and MetaMask in developer relations. I'm the MetaMask DevRel manager, and today we're pretty much just going to be talking about UX. It's not going to be super technical. I will go into a few technical slides about EIP 6963 if we have time for that. But basically, I just created this because we had some crazy experiences this week. So as we prepare to welcome the next however many users into Web3 ecosystem, I think we need to fortify our foundations with accessible interfaces that can withstand the flood, pun intended. Basically ensuring that trust and comprehension are not washed away. A quick overview of the talk. We're going to talk a little bit about user experience, developer experience, what might DX influence in UX in Web3, products and technologies that I think can help you right now in Web3 to build a better user experience for your users. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So what is user experience? I'm kind of old school. If you can't tell by the grays, I'm trying to hide in my beard. When I think of user experience, I don't think of a UX designer first. I think of the overall experience that a user is going to have with a product or a tangible good. So in my honest opinion, the user experience is everything that touches upon your user's experience, period. Be it a Web3 application or, you know, the shitty scooter that I rode to East Dubai the other day. A user's experience is everything, and I find kind of a lacking in a lot of dApps that I visit in Web3. It's getting better, but I think that we're forgetting sometimes. We're putting a lot of detail into the infrastructure and the overall like our smart contracts and all this stuff, but we're forgetting about the basic user experience. I see a lot of dApps that sometimes feel like an MVP or a demo to me, or that they've forgot to include a product designer in kind of creating their final product. A great resource that I think that everyone should watch, even kind of front-end developers specifically, though product designers, is this is a talk from Ben Sharfstein, and it goes a lot more in depth about product design than I'm going to be able to go into this talk. And I just think that there's a lot of very obvious things that you can do, and I think we all know them, but I think we forget to think about them, and we forget to second guess our applications before pushing them out to production. And so I've been trying to develop this talk to, I guess, try to harp on those things and to get people to remember that the things that we learned in Web 2 as Web 2 developers, whether it's accessibility or good design in UX and UI, shouldn't be forgotten as we build in Web 3, or we're not going to be able to attract those people that we want to come over to Web 3. UX is everything. On the right, we're looking at Uniswap's Connect Wallet experience. It uses EIP 6963. So they were one of the first dApps that I saw to actually implement this. And it's a very simple kind of technology. The EIP 6963 is a few interfaces and types that you can pull into your application. And it gets away from using the window.ethereum object. And now, although I do think that there's going to be different ways of connecting to wallets in the future, right now this is a step in the right direction. It's fairly easy to implement. And basically what it does is it just looks through your browser extensions to figure out what wallets you have, and it displays them. You can still do it the old way, where you have a certain number of wallets that you kind of approve for your dApp, that you have these very specific ways of connecting to them kind of hard-coded into your dApp. But with EIP 6963, it allows you to at least find those providers in the browser and kind of iterate over them and give a very easy way of connecting to each of them. Uniswap is also just overall a good user experience in Web3 and always has been. It just works, and they have gone the extra mile to ensure that most everyone can use this interface in their language and in their currencies. That's super important. More importantly, Uniswap is great because everyone on their team, from the back end, front end, smart contract devs, and when I say back end, I mean kind of like the decentralized smart contract back end stuff. UX designers, PMs, everyone on their team seems to have been in lockstep in creating a usable product, something that I don't see in every single dApp. But when you finish building that new MVP or this product that you're going to release to the world, I think you should at least ask yourself, how does it stack up to something like Uniswap, even if it's not similar to it? Or find that piece of UX out there in the Web3 world that you think is a great user experience and say, how does my dApp stack up to something like that, even if they're not similar? UX designers need to work directly with UI devs and know what tools to use. So as you have a team and you have these basically front-end developers that are building your product, it's good to have a UX designer and to have those two people working together. So it's not practical to outsource UX design and not have those UX designers know what tools and technologies and frameworks that the UI and web developers are using. This creates unnecessary work for your devs, takes a lot longer to do it, and the product ends up being nothing like the design the UX designer actually envisioned. So if your devs are using React, Tailwind, or maybe even, God forbid, something like Bootstrap, the UX designer needs to know about those things and needs to design for those tools. This is obvious, but I think it suggests that if you don't know your target audience, if you don't know who your users are, and you don't know you don't do the proper testing, research, studies, interviews, and receive feedback from your users, you won't be able to build a product that is actually great for your users to use and that provides them with a good user experience. Some final thoughts that I kind of have on UX is as you start to build your next dApp product or service, think about it from a user's point of view always. Start small and iterate. Starting too large and having your hand in too many pots, doing too many things and initiatives at once is always a recipe for disaster. Sweat the details, build the most obvious features first, and nail them. Your user requirements should dictate what the next feature is beyond that as well. So overall, what is developer experience? So from your docs to your tutorials, articles, workshops, and presentations, the actual experience a developer has when building your tools. So maybe you're not building dApps, maybe you're building tools. In the case of DevTools, put your product in front of hackers. Get the feedback that's needed to shape the product and iterate your developer experience for your product. For your tools, I'm sorry. On the right, this is an example of the WAGMI docs. I don't know how many front-end developers we have in here. I'm a front-end developer, but what they have front and center is a get started, why WAGMI, GitHub link. I mean, those are kind of important, but they have the React hooks that I need, the TypeScript support that I need, how to connect to wallets, information about VM, which WAGMI is built on top of. So everything I need as a dev is at my fingertips with the minimal amount of clicks to get to it. And when I try these docs, when I try these tools, they just work. Another one is QuickNode. If you're a Web2 developer, Vercel. These people have docs that just work, and it's the first part of developer experience, but is also, in my opinion, one of the most important ones. As a DevRel, when I go to a company and I'm working for a company for the first time, the first thing that we tackle is the docs. Put ourselves in the shoes of the developers that are going to be using these tools, find the gaps, fix them, and then start to build demos from there on how to use it. Your users don't want to know about your features either. As you release new features, don't just tell them what the features are or do blog posts about what the features are. There's this thing I like to call like the Super Mario analogy, and it's applicable to more than just kind of developer experience, but I think it's a good analogy for developer experience, is that Mario, the guy in Super Mario Brothers, doesn't give a shit about the flower, right? The little flower that he gets, he cares that it allows him to shoot fireballs, right? So show your users or your developers or whoever's building with your tools or your product, how they can shoot fireballs. And I think if you remember that, you're always going to be able to create a good developer experience for them, or at least teach them and educate them on how to use your tools. How does DX influence UX in Web3? I don't hear people talking about this a lot, but I think using products providing a good DX or developer experience makes it easier for those developers to in turn create a good user experience.
Hello, yes. Yeah, so
Hello.
I think there's been a lot of experimentations with on-chain identity management tools in the past, and I don't
Should I
think
just
there's
talk
been
over?
any that has been particularly successful, apart from maybe WorldCoin. And
I think she had something
I think
more
there
important
is a
than me to
future
say. She didn't like
where,
my talk.
Like AI makes most
So
people's
with that being
work
said, it's on
somewhat
us builders
redundant,
to know
and
how.
on-chain identity.
No, I'm gone. Check, check, check. 1, 2. All right. So with that being said, I don't know what I just said, but it's on us, the builders, to know how to use these tools versus out-of-the-box features or customize in more specific technology. You can't rely solely on the tools like I mentioned earlier, Tailwind, WAGMI, and VM. You need subject matter
There are
experts.
scalability blockers
Yeah.
in between, like what Vincent was talking about, and there are
I think the point here that I'm trying to make is that if you have a good developer experience, yeah, here we go. If you have a good, if you build tools, now I'm in a pool or something. Okay, now I got to echo. If you have tools that have a good user experience, one of the things that we're starting to see in Web3 is we're starting to see all these tools that allow developers to build better products and better user experiences. And that just wasn't the case when I started in Web3 even 4 years ago, right? In Web 2, we had all these amazing tools, and we still use some of those tools in Web 3 as front-end developers. I think you have to remember that a lot of the tools that we're using are Web tools, and as far as creating a user experience, a lot of the same rules still apply. Yes, there's this decentralized nature to everything, but when you're building an interface is just an interface. Products and features and EIPs for good developer experience in UX in 2024. So a few of these I'm going to go over. You can see the list here. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the next page because I feel like we're running short on time. But AI. So although AI is not a specific tool or product, AI is set to play a huge role in the Web3 ecosystem, enhancing UX, ensuring robust security, and opening up blockchain technologies to a wider audience. So by leveraging AI for personalization, automated smart contracts, security, accessibility, so we can drastically improve the intuitiveness and inclusivity of Web3 platforms. So as we integrate AI with blockchain, we're not just building smarter applications, but we're actually making them easier to use and more accessible to everyone. So it should be a tool in your toolbox to create a better user experience, because AI helps. Cookbook.dev. It's a good reason, this is a good example of how AI can help. I don't know if any of you have ever gone to cookbook.dev, but if you know a developer or even someone who's researching the different protocols in Web3, give them this link. They probably haven't heard of it. Cookbook lets you find any smart contract, protocol, and library, and you can access chain quick starts and fine-tuned, and they have AI chatbots that make it easier to kind of answer your questions about these different documentations that they aggregate all into one space. But they're also using AI in the background to kind of do all this aggregation of these different documentations from across Web3. So in Web3, dev resources are often scattered. Builders need to learn many different technologies and read many docs. Cookbook aggregates, like I said, those resources and makes the learning process a lot easier. Check out these guys. Again, this is more of just like making you aware of things that are going to help you to be a better builder in Web3, or maybe help your team become a better builders in Web3. Gelato Networks. I don't have to say a lot about them. They've been here at the conference. Hopefully you've seen some of their talks. But automation, reliability, infrastructure, developers can focus more on building innovative features rather than managing like repetitive tasks or custom infrastructure. So enhanced user interaction by automating smart contracts, contract executions. It provides users with a smoother and more seamless experience. And when you have tools like this at your disposal as a developer, the things that you can build in Web3 are amazing. Quick node, I think I put the wrong, I was going to hide this one because I put the wrong information on this slide, but quick node is something like Infura, it's just, I think the point I wanted to make with that is they're really doing a great job with providing developers with tools and good documentation. We have MetaMask Snaps, if you haven't heard about this. So through interoperability, MetaMask Snaps can expand the wallet's functionality. As a developer, you can build something for MetaMask and not have to wait for us to build it, and cater to users engaging with non-EVM chains in a secure manner. So, you know, with Snaps, this is our kind of entry point into non-EVM and kind of omni-chain managing of assets with MetaMask. So through security, Snaps implements measures such as checking recipient addresses against known phishing databases, simulating transactions to determine their potential outcomes, and ensuring users have a clear picture before confirming any action. So I've kind of shifted from talking about tools and technologies that I think can help you build a better AI. I'm kind of showing you now a few of the things that we're doing at MetaMask to make our user experience better and to give users of MetaMask more confidence in using their wallet. We also have an SDK that any developer can use. It's a library that provides a reliable and secure seamless connection from your dApp. So imagine this, connecting a dApp to a mobile MetaMask in the past was super hard. We have an SDK that allows you to do that. It also allows you to batch RPC requests, and it's that. And you can connect to extension or mobile with the SDK. So whenever you go to a dApp, you see this little QR code if you want to connect to mobile, or if a desktop, we just connect in the traditional way to the browser. So although a very kind of small product, it doesn't do a lot. It connects to mobile and does a lot behind the scenes to keep that connection persistent. And also cool little endpoints that allow you to do like, again, RPC batching, things that you can't normally do with MetaMask. RPC batching is coming in MetaMask, but we already have it in the SDK. And so whenever MetaMask actually gets that in the core code, we'll just switch our implementation to what they're building. But we already have it here. MetaMask portfolio, if you haven't checked out the MetaMask portfolio, basically it allows you to kind of connect your wallet and buy, sell, swap, bridge, stake, all this kind of stuff in one central place. But the reason I'm showing it is because if you haven't heard of it, go check it out. But what the portfolio is doing is, for our SDK product, is they're being our user zero, and they're testing out our SDK and making sure that the user experience and the developer experience is great. And by the time, you know, they get done helping us with kind of figuring out all the gaps and all the issues with the SDK, we now have a good product to send out to developers to help them build better user interfaces. Account abstraction, again, not something we need to go into, but you should be learning about account abstraction. It is a major kind of technology in Web3 that's going to usher in better user experience, better onboarding, as it introduced EIP 4337, poised to kind of redefine our interactions with the Ethereum ecosystem. It facilitates gasless transactions and enables secure logins and simplifies the overall technical complexities. Finally, EIP 6963, multi-provider discovery. If you haven't heard of this one yet, EIP 6963 is pretty simple. It is, it's a new EIP. It has a few interfaces and types that you can pull into your application, and within a few lines of code, you can detect all of the wallets that are installed in the browser, iterate over them, show their icon, show their name, create a connect function to connect using, you know, ETH_request accounts, or you know, the standard way that you would connect to a wallet. And although I can't use my computer to do a demo, because that's no matter whether I was using mine or this one, it just wasn't working. So, well, I had some slides in here that show you how to use EIP 6963, but they're on that computer, and evidently they didn't get transferred over. But what I'll say really quickly is, if you go check out EIP 6963, on the Ethereum EIP site, you'll just see a few types and interfaces there. As a developer, you can copy those into your application, and through those, you can get access to the request method of EIP 1193, and you can now find these providers that are in like an object array, iterate over them, create the user interface that we saw before. And one of the things that EIP 6963 helps, besides kind of pulling us away from using window.ethereum as a developer, it also, there's a UUID, which is like a unique identifier for each wallet, which I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but there's several different wallets out there that identify as MetaMask or as Coinbase or these other ones that normal dApps get confused with. So Ravi Wallet is one example. If I have Ravi Wallet and MetaMask installed in my browser, typically I'll go to a dApp and it'll say, hey, connect with your MetaMask, and I'll click on that and it'll open up Ravi Wallet or some other Coin98 wallet that I didn't even know I had installed. So EIP 6963 gets rid of that through using unique identifiers, and it's just one more step in the right direction in creating a better wallet experience. Man, it sucks I don't have the code slides here, but for my talk, the first URL here is the slides. The second and the third link are actually 6963 demos in both React and vanilla TypeScript. And then finally at the bottom here is an article that I wrote, which is a guide that every developer who's building user interfaces for Web3 I think should look at. It's the guide to EIP 6963 that I wish I had when I started, so I wrote it because there's just not a ton of information out there on how to use it. There's a few demos that you can download and figure it out yourself, but I kind of go through the whole thing, explain the history, why it's needed, what it does to solve things, and it's very simple. Whether you're a developer or not, you can read through that and probably understand it and understand why we need it and why it's a good step in the right direction. So again, we've talked about the fundamentals behind good DX and UX. This pertains to building any product, not just Web3. My name is Eric Bishard, HTTP Junkie. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.